Thank you very much. Appreciate your introduction. It's a real honor, and I'm really humbled to be here in front of you. As I said before, also, it's more important that we interact each other. The more interactions we have, we can learn. When I say we can learn, I really meant to say that I also here to learn. I'm not here to really lecture. No, it's learning. So please keep in mind that we are here to learn. So help me so that we all can learn as a team. Sometimes I also encourage you to communicate with your neighbors, your colleague, and have a discussion among yourself, and then you can ask me questions, whatever you might have. I cannot promise that I will have all the answers for you, but at least I will take your questions and try to find the answers and come up with the answers when we meet tomorrow. That is my plan. So, because I do not know what kind of questions you are going to ask me, so without the prepared questions, I cannot really answer on the spot. I can try my best from my knowledge, but I cannot promise that I will be answer your questions on the spot immediately. But I will find the answers. At least I will try to find the answers. Whether it is satisfy your questions or not, that is your judge. You will be the judge for that. But at least I will get some feedback for you to think about that and use it for your future understanding. By show of hands, how many of you doing your B.Tech in any institutions? Just raise your hand, please. Okay. No. I'm still counting, still seeing you and all. So it's important that I see all of you. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. I request you to stay in those spots for next 5 days. If you are going to be in this building, in this room, please stay in your regular spot for next 5 days, so that I don't have to keep looking for you throughout the auditorium here. At least I can point that, okay, this is the person who is going to sit in the right side, this is the person going to sit in the left side, some of you are going to sit in the central portion of it. Make sense? At least that way you are going to interact with the same people for next 5 days, so that you don't have to keep changing your interaction with other people next to you, right? That makes sense, right? Yeah, perfect. You all agree with me. That's great. You all know about me, so that's a great thing, right? At least you know what you are getting into, right? At least whom you are going to interact for next 5 days. For whatever reason you need to step out, please feel free to do that. Because all the PowerPoint presentation files we are going to use, at the end of this course, you will get a flash drive with all the materials. So you will have it for your future reference purposes. It's not rocket scientist information. It's not proprietary information. It is for learning opportunity. And this is not a really new material I'm going to give it to you. I have been using this material for many years, and I have convinced myself that this is important information, very basic information. For some of you, it may be a duplicate, but it will be a different duplicate, because whoever exposed this material to you before, that person is different than myself. Material may be same material, but delivery would be definitely different. We are all different. We all deliver same material differently, right? You all agree with me? So from that point of view, you will have a different thinking process. My terminologies may be different. Definition may be different, because definition all about a lot of things are not standard stuff. It's nowhere in the literature. These are all my thought process, what I thought it's going to be like that. And there will be some terminology, some things may be out there in the literature, but most of them are how I want to approach the material and deliver to you. Okay. Make sure that turn off your cell phones, or if you think you will be getting important calls or something like that, messages like that, put it in the vibrate so that you can access the material, access the your phone. And if you need to talk to somebody, please step out, talk to the people, and come back. If you need to use a restroom, feel free to go out and use the restroom anytime. You will not hurt me if you are leaving the lecture hall. Make sense? So I just want to be as friendly as possible, and I just want to make sure that there is a learning going on between both of us. That's the bottom line. After 1 hour, if you feel like you didn't learn anything, please let me know. That is very important, right? I'm not saying that I'm going to pack and go home. I will be here for next 5 days, but I may try to change my delivery, what I'm trying to deliver and how I'm planning, what I'm trying to deliver the material. As a background information, I have been teaching this course for a lot of non-engineering students. I see a lot of bright people here, not a lot of bright people, I'm sorry, I meant to say that I see all bright people here, right? You are all cream of the crop. Agree with me? You are all cream of the crop. So you are all bright people. I know I can deliver the material in an easy manner to you all. The place I come from, South Dakota State University. How many of you know about South Dakota State University? Anybody here knows about South Dakota State University? Okay, that's okay. If you don't know, that's okay. You don't know, that's okay. Because if you ask me about any places in India, I probably don't know also. So it's okay. We are even now. So South Dakota State University is Midwest of the United States. There are 50 states in the United States. South Dakota is one of the state. As a state, we have 750,000 people, 750,000 people living in that state. Less than 1 million people, okay? So that is the scale I am talking about. Lot of agricultural field, lot of tourism, and that's how we run our life there. Agriculture is the bread and butter of the state. So because of that, lot of students comes with the farm background, big farms. When they come to education, they get education degree and they may go back to their farm and run their business. You may be wondering why the hell they have to come to college, spend about $100,000, and then they have a loan of $100,000, things like that, right? But that is a passion. They are passionate about their education and they feel that they can learn something so that they can do their work, go back to their farm and make it better. That's why they spend $100,000 to get their 4-year degree program. That's a lot of money, right? If you have $100,000, would you go to college? You may not, right? Because system is different here. You get almost free education. Almost, not all of them are paid, but almost free education. So you have a lot more opportunities here than they have. That is why a lot of undergraduate students, they do not go to graduate school. So things are different here, right? Because you may not find a job after undergraduate, you end up doing graduate school, or you have passion to do graduate school, master's, PhD, postdoc, things like that. So it's a different scale we are talking about. I just want to give you a background. So the students come to undergraduates, we recruit, we admit anybody who comes there. We do not check their GPA in the high school. We do not check their entrance exam scores, anything. We do not check anything. Anybody want to come to class, we'll take them. So in a classroom of 100 people, you probably have a 20 students, cream of the crop. You don't have to do anything for them, right? They will study on their own, right? And then there is 20 people at the bottom because they are there. Somebody, parents are something like that. Somebody asked them to go to college. They are there. They are not very interested in studying. They just want to get complete the 4-year program, and they want to go back whatever they want to do. And there are 60 people, 60% of the people in the middle. They are the one who need help. And that's what I do. I target them. Not only me, all the faculty, that's what we do, target them. So we are targeting majority of the people, right? Because 20% the top, they study on their own. We don't have to worry about that. The 60% the middle, that's where we need to target. So our materials are very down to earth material. Not much complicated material. Even that is also sometimes difficult for them. Okay, so that is some background about what kind of educator I am and how I educate the people. So some of you may get bored, but please help me out. Tell me if you get bored. Muthu, you are telling me this over and over again. I know all these things. Why I am sitting here, I do not know. You have to tell me if that is the case. I hope not, but at least there could be some interesting thing you can learn from this course offering. So I just accepted the invitation. I just came there. I know for sure I will learn from you guys in the first hour, and then I can change my things. Because I do not sleep in the night time. I have a jet lag, 12-hour time difference I have. So right now it's 12 something, right? Middle of the day, middle of the night there. Okay. So around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock here, I'll be dozing out. So if I am dozing out, you guys shout, saying that, Muthu, wake up, tell me something. I didn't understand this. Please repeat it. Okay, I can repeat it. Okay, so these are all real thing I'm telling you. It's not 15 minutes or 20 minutes conference presentations. It is real stuff. So I really need to be interacting with you in a more friendly manner, and so that everybody is in the same page. Yeah, any questions anybody has? Okay, during the course of time, you will be asking questions. I will be trying my best to answer them. That's a plan, right? All with me? Okay, very good. At least you are all saying yes. Okay, one more thing. I have a long first name, long last name. Do not worry about the whole name, spelling, or anything like that. Just call me Muthu. I am from Agriculture and Biosystem Engineering Department, and I have been there for 25 years. Before that, I was in Madison, Wisconsin, did my PhD and postdoc, things like that. Let's get into the business now. Let's talk about the subject matter now, and see how far we can go. If you look at we did the introduction. I think that's great thing to do. I like to do those kind of introduction the first day of my classes. Anytime I teach a new class, and that helps me to interact with the students very friendly manner, and they really value that. If you are a very friendly person, And if you are willing to help them out, they value that. So the introduction is over. Now we get into the business. Texture. When I say texture, what is come to your mind? What is a texture means to you? Any volunteers?
Physical appearance of any food product.
Physical appearance of any food product. How many of you agree with that statement? Okay. Any other definition, ma'am? Next to you, yeah? No, for her, yeah. She raised her hand. No. Yes, okay.
The overall texture means like it can be the flowability, it can be the chewability, it can be the springiness, gumminess, all those things are comprising totally the texture, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, from your point of view, texture encompasses everything goes in the food system. Whatever material flowing, deformation, or whatever you can think of, right?
Like when a food material we are consuming any food material, the total feel which we get in our mouth, that is the overall texture, I think.
Okay, no, that's okay. I mean, I'm not asking for a proper definition here. I'm just asking you what you think it is, which is okay. I mean, you are okay. Everybody's okay here. No, there is no right or wrong answer here. We are trying to understand from each other, each other's perspective, each other's thinking process. So texture is overall thing. So that is a prime in the when you think about any food material. So with that introduction, let's think about what I would define as a texture. Food texture is defined as all the rheological, mechanical, and structural attributes of the product perceptible by the means of mechanical, tactile, visual, as well as auditory receptors. So it's a complex phenomena, complex characteristic of a food material. It's not as easy as what we think. We may think it is easy, but it is much more complex. When we say about the rheological, rheology means what? Study of flow and deformation. Study of flow and deformation. Everything flows. You all agree with me? When I say everything flows, I mean everything. Everything flows. Some flows very fast, some flows very, very slow. If you look at the glass window, do they flow? Glass window? They flow. They will go down by gravity from top to bottom, they will go down. You won't see that. If you want to really evidence that, if you want to really prove that the glass flows, you have to wait for many, many years, and you can take the glass window out and measure the thickness on top, thickness on bottom. Bottom will be more thicker than the top. You all agree with me? That's all about. We are going to talk about more flow, more deformation. That's all we are going to do in this 4-day, 5-day workshop. We will be talking about different things, but at the end of the day, it's all about flow and deformation. Mechanical properties, mechanical attributes. When I say mechanical attributes, what we are talking about mechanically? What is mechanical attributes we may be talking about down the road? Hardness, viscosity, is it a mechanical one? Viscosity is mechanical one? It's more rheological than mechanical, right? Viscosity is more rheological than mechanical. When we say mechanical, we are talking about firmness, hardness, springiness, cohesiveness. The very basic information is force and deformation. You apply a force, material deform. Not all the material deform at the same level. Some material deform more, some material deform less. Force and deformation. That is very, very basic thing. And that's what we are going to talk about this afternoon when we come back. Talking about the mechanical properties of the food material. So that will be done this afternoon. So we'll be doing that after lunch. Structural attributes. These are all very complex systems, right? Structure plays a bigger role in terms of characterizing your food texture. Structures plays a bigger role because at the end of the day, it is not 100% starch product. It's not 100% protein product. Who will eat 100% protein product? Anybody? We do not, right? There is some limit to anything. And 100% it's not 100% vitamin product, right? There should be something else on top of that. So the structure plays a bigger role in terms of characterizing rheologically, mechanically, whatever you want to characterize. So structure plays a bigger role. So it's a combination of structure, mechanical, rheological properties of the material make a texture of that material. Whether it is a raw material or processed material, doesn't matter. It's at the end of the day, it is the everything encompasses the final texture of the material. Again, it's a perception. We all have a different perception. We can eat, you and me can have the same apple, but our perception will be different. Make sense? That is why in the market you have 1,000 different varieties of apples, right? 1,000 different varieties of cereals, 1,000 different varieties of this, 1,000 different varieties of that, like that, when you go to grocery store, right? Why? Because at the end of the day, consumers demand variety. We all demand variety. Even this morning, registrar said that he may not eat everything. He has to like it to eat it. Not only him, everybody else, right? Our next door neighbor have a different yogurt product. I may have a different yogurt product. It's a perception. It's what it is, right? What do you feel it is? So that plays a bigger role in terms of understanding the texture. And again, these mechanical, tactile, visual as well as auditory receptors, they all play a role in terms of defining texture. How many of you know there is a lot of study going on neuroscience? Neuroscience, our brain, how it works, that makes a lot of difference. Each brain is different. Not only each brain is different. Within the brain, molecules are different. I don't know how many of you know about yourself. I know myself. I am a left brainer. I am a left brainer. Anybody here left brainer? Go and check it out, whether you are a left brainer or right brainer. The left brainers do not analyze a lot of things. We don't care about too many things. I go from point A to point B. That's all I care about it. I don't do anything in between. If I have to reach the NIT Roorkela, I go from Delhi airport to the, what's the neighboring airport here? Correct. I keep trying to remember that name. I keep forgetting it. It's too complex for me to remember that name. I go from Delhi airport to Charkoda airport, and then somebody is sitting waiting there to pick me up, and I go into the car, and then I reach NIT. In between, if I want to have a tea, I have a chai, I'm done with that. So I reach the place. So that's all I care about. That's what the left brainer does. Right brainers, they analyze things and they will think about how I am going to go, how fast I can go, how soon I can reach the place, those kind of things. Left brainers, we don't care about it. As long as I reach by the time, whatever time I need to be there, I'm good. Even it takes more time, I don't care. That's what it is. So the texture also like that only, depending upon your perception, you may define differently. So there is no clear standard definition for any other things we are going to talk about. Force is force, area is area, those are all given. There is nobody can argue saying that no, the force is different. Your force is different than my force. Force is same thing for everybody, right? Stress is same thing for everybody. So those things will be same, but definitions, terminology can be different. As long as we agree upon it, as long as we discuss about it, and we can come to consensus. All is well? Texture? Okay, please remember that one. It's a complex phenomena, complex attribute, and it takes into account of a lot of mechanical, rheological, structural differences within the system itself. And that's what the texture is all about. Why do you want to analyze the food texture? Objectives, it provides quantitative description. Quantitative description. What is a quantitative description of attributes important to food texture? What is a quantitative description here? Anybody, any thoughts? Measure of the particular property. Okay. Can somebody tell me very specific thing? Hardness. Okay, hardness. But what is the quantification there? Hardness is a qualitative term. Huh? Firmness? Firmness also qualitative term. No, I'm really looking for a quantitative term.
Like giving number anything.
Giving the number anything. So, what is the number we are talking about?
Hardness value.
Okay, hardness is a qualitative term. Okay, again force is a qualitative term. I am looking for the proper unit here. Newton. Newton is the force. Area per meter square. Okay, we are all in the same units now. I appreciate that. Hardness, firmness, this and that, those are all quality. Huh? Pressure, stress, force over area, Newton per meter square. What is Newton per meter square is? Pascal, pressure, Pascal, stress, same thing, right? Pushing things is pressure. Getting headache, stress, headache. That's the stress, That's a real term, they are not putting that value, quantitative term for that, but that's what it is, right? You think you are stressed out, you have headache, you just take the paracetamol, right? If I wish we can say that, okay, I have a 100-pound force in my brain and I need 4 paracetamol instead of 2 paracetamol because it's 100 pound instead of 50 pound like that. But again, 50 pound for some people it's a small amount. For some people it's probably bigger amount, right? So that same thing we are talking about. So nothing different here. It's just that we are putting force into the product and we are testing hardness like that. But same thing happening to our human also, health also. Whatever headache you get, some pressure went into that. That's why you have a headache. That's basically the stress. What is a number one cause of death in the whole world? Stress and tension. Exactly. You guys know stress, compression, and tension. We do that for evaluating the food product. Same thing happened to the human beings. That's why most of the people die. Stress and tension, compression and tension. Please make sure that you don't get a lot of compression and a lot of tension. Let it go. Life will be simpler. Okay. So, and highlight quality improvement opportunities. That's one of the objectives throughout the supply chain and the production process. Quality improvement. If you take the wheat, you cannot eat wheat just like that, right? You have to grind it, you have to get the wheat flour, right? Even wheat flour, you cannot eat it like that. You have to make the roti, you have to make chapati or paratha, something like that. Then you can add value to that. Just a wheat only is not value added material. If you want to add value to the material, you need to process them. Supply chain changes, processes. So that's also important in terms of the analyzing the food texture. And then you want to evaluate the physical and mechanical properties of the raw ingredients. We are talking about raw ingredients. Physical and mechanical properties are raw ingredients. What kind of raw ingredients we are talking here? Wheat flour is a raw ingredient. We study the rheological properties of wheat flour, even though we do not eat the wheat flour, but those wheat flour characteristics will have influence on the final product you want to get. Make sense? That's what we do in a supply chain, and that's what we are going to study about, how we are going to do that. What kind of parameters we need to evaluate so that we can really see what kind of product we can make out of these raw materials. Again, food texture is perceived through a complex series of oral processing. So when we start with eating anything, it move insertions. You put food in your mouth, any food material for that matter. It could be gulab jamun, it could be jalebi, it could be biryani, it could be chapati or roti, anything like that, or apple or carrots, raw materials. So you're going to ingest into your mouth, front of the mouth, and as soon as you put it in the mouth, your perceptor is going to say whether you want to continue to consume that or you want to throw it out. Right? A lot of times we have seen it. Even we observed ourselves. When somebody gave you something, as soon as you put it there, if your perceptors don't think it's a good material to eat, you are going to spit it out. Right? How many times you have done it? How many times we make sure we mad people, right? You go to somebody's house and they are going to give you something to eat, and then for all of a sudden your perceptor don't think that's a good thing for you to eat. You'll say, I don't like this at all. What is going on here? You may say in front of the people, you may not say in front of the people, that's a different story. But that's what it is, right? On the other hand, next person may eat the same thing. So what's going on here? What's a big deal? If that person can eat, I should be able to eat. We are different. That's what happens. That is the bottom line. So if you have some instrumentation, so that instrument cannot make a false statements, right? Instrument is not, what I'm trying to say is, instrument is not going to make, can somebody say what I'm trying to think? Subjective decision. I'm trying to find another terminology for that. Cannot bias, it cannot discriminate. Discrimination. That's what I'm trying to get at. Glad. Thank you. When you talk, I also can talk, Then my mind works when you guys talk. If you don't talk, then my mind won't work. Then everything stops. We don't want to do that. We have long ways to go. So we all keep talking so that we are all on the same page. So instruments cannot discriminate whether me or somebody else. But sensory person can discriminate, right? Because they have a brain, instrument doesn't have a brain, not natural brain. Computer is a brain, right? Instrument has a computer, so it's a brain, but it's going to say whatever we are telling it to say. It will say the same thing every time until it's dead, right? Because if the system is down, it's dead, right? It cannot do anything. So if it is eatable, you will start eating. Then it go to the stage 1 transport. It goes to the post canine area. It goes to the inside the mouth, and that's why you have mastication going on, right? You are keep biting it and then masticating it, processing it. Chew or tongue palate compression is going on, and then if you are ready to swallow, you swallow. If it's not, then you process more, do more processing, more energy input to the product until your mind is ready to swallow that. That's what is happening. And then the stage 2 is the transport through phases of our bolus formation. So then you swallow it. Then at the end of this, the ending process. So there is a lot of things, complex series of oral processing going on before it goes to the stomach. And there it does a lot of other processing things. We don't have to worry about that. As long as food goes inside the stomach, you are done with that. You cannot even take it back, right? Until otherwise, you really force yourself to vomit out. Otherwise, it's done deal. And then all the processing goes on, and the next day only it comes out. Whatever happens, So as soon as people start eating it, then no problem at all, right? Whether it's good or bad, they accepted it, and then life goes on. And then they will definitely eat it again if they liked it. If the whole experience is a good experience, they will eat it again. If the experience is not a good experience, then they will not eat it. So it is not just only that time, next day also make a difference also. If the experience is not good next day, then they will not consume the same product. So it's a very, very complex things. Food itself is a complex. And then understanding texture and all the rheological properties. So we do a lot of measurement for the benefit of the consumers. And that's a bottom line. I'm telling you the story here. You see what I'm saying? So even though it's just a texture, one word, but it has a lot of meaning, a lot of impact, and a lot of going through the whole food chain. So it's not, I mean, I'm in simple terms, I'm telling you guys. It's not even a complex thing. I mean, the whole thing is complex, but if you understand that it's a very simple term, goes through a lot of processing and a lot of complex processes involved, series of oral processing involved. So we need to be mindful about that, So any questions so far? Okay, I think we talked about this. The textural characteristics are perceived by the following food attributes. This is not a comprehensive list for you. This is not comprehensive. There are a lot more things we are going to talk about the next 4 days. I just provided you some information so that we are all on the same page. You all know what hardness means. How hard the food is, how soft the food is, right? If you take an apple, if you buy it from the grocery store today, that apple may be harder today because you want to have a hard apple, right? I mean, you want to make sure that you have the quality product. After 2-3 days, the summertime, it may go mushy. It becomes softer. Then before you eat it, you'll make sure that you touch it and apply some pressure, not too much pressure so that you mushed it out. Small pressure, and make sure that product is still okay to eat as per your desire. That's what we do, right? So we don't have to have an instrument at all. I mean, if instrument is there, that's good. But again, you need to have some references also, right? Even if you have a instrument, you need to know what would be the pressure you want, the hardness of that material before you can eat it. So it gets complicated, right? But when you are doing product developments, you have to test it out so that you can repeat it for future product development. And those numbers need to be verified. Cohesiveness, we all know that, we will be studying that. Brittleness, how product is brittle. Brittleness, ductileness. When I say brittle, what is come to your mind? There are two terms I just said, brittle and ductile. Can somebody differentiate between brittle and ductile? Yes, ma'am. Blue color.
Brittle is like how easily it can be broken into pieces.
Correct.
And similar is ductile also, but it can be deformed into shapes.
Correct. So if you take a cheese sample, piece of cheese, and then if you pull it, if that material can just like that break, that is brittle. If the cheese is elongating it and then breaking, that is ductile. Quality characteristics I'm talking about. There are cheeses, they can break immediately. There are cheeses, they will elongate little longer and then they break. Even in normal conditions I'm talking. So, viscosity, very important, right? Day-to-day life, we all experience viscosity. Higher viscosity sample means what? Resistance to flow. It offers more resistance to flow. What does it matter? Why we care about it? Easy to swallow or not. Even medicines you take, liquid medicines, whether easy to swallow or it's harder to swallow. That's why we are talking about resistance to flow. Thicker material than thinner material. Gumminess. How gummy the material? Gumminess is not true for any material. Primarily gumminess is true for semi-solid food. We'll be talking more on that also. Chewiness. How chewable your material is. Some people like more chewiness. Some people don't like chewiness. They'll say, oh, it's so chewiness, I don't want to eat this one. Some people will be happy. Oh, I like chewy product. Even candies and all, if it is more chewier, children will like it. They will say, oh, I like chewiness. Some people say, oh, no, I don't like chewiness. This is what it is. So we'll be talking about that. Adhesiveness. Everybody familiar with the adhesiveness? Stickiness. Negative energy. That's what adhesiveness means. When you are biting something stick to your teeth, that's a negative energy, negative force. So that's what adhesiveness means. Some products are adhesive, more adhesive. Some products are less adhesive. So those are all makes a difference in terms of how you develop the product. So we'll be talking about this down the road. So I just give you some example of some of the characteristics we'll be studying. We'll be looking at it down the road. Some of the instruments, these are some of the instruments I came across in the literature, but I never used them personally myself. I thought I will throw it to you and see whether anybody is familiar with this instrument, just for cross-checking. Penetrometer. Anybody heard about penetrometer? You have used it? No? Ma'am? Yes? Where?
Actually, in texture profile analyzer, we have used the penetrometer for measuring all these properties of a cake piece actually. So,
In addition to texture profile analyzer?
no, for texture profile analyzer, this penetrometer I have used.
Oh, okay. So if when you use this one, you get all the characteristics
The graph actually we get.
from penetrometer?
Yeah, in the texture profile analyzer.
No. I think the texture profile analyzer is basically you are compressing the sample, you are getting it. But this is a handheld device. So all you get is you get a number from this dial. Okay, I mean don't worry. I mean you didn't do anything wrong. You're fine. I'm just checking with you guys whether you are familiar with any of this instrument or not. This is a very old instrument, I think. It's probably there 40 years ago or something, it's I mean, when you look at this tip here, same as a texture profile analyzer. It's a small probe coming down, and then you get a lot more information than what you really need, in my opinion, which is okay, because we all like to have more data, right? We like to have more data, so we can do more analysis. You can create more graphs, more tables. Life is good. Paper get published. Ula, I mean, I get one more publication done. Next, go on another publication, right? That I mean, we are in that society, right? I mean, more publications, more the merrier, right? Whatever it is, whether it has any significance or not, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you have publications, your life is good. You will have a better career. At least everybody think that way, right? Who is going to say, okay, I have only 2 papers in the high impact journal, so I need to be promoted better than other person who has 10 publications and there is no impact factor for those journals. Don't consider that. I mean, some people may think it, but the overall system is not like that, right? So, okay, and then suclometer. Anybody had any time? Yeah, no, I never came across this meter at all. To me, looks like they are putting stuff into this container here, and they are going to press it through. It's like extractor or something, and then they are going to collect some solution or something, and then depending upon the material they test it out, they may have a different amount of liquid they collect, and they may use that information for doing any kind of analysis. I think that's how I'm looking at it. And then the tenterometer, tenterizer. I think that looks to me that's what it is. How tender the product is. How hard it is. I think that is what the whole thing is all about. Okay, so that completes our introduction session, and I'm going to show you what is our plan for next few days. First thing is, this afternoon after lunch, I will tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to have a quick lunch and I'm going to take a nap, and I will be here 5 minutes to 3 o'clock. Okay? I don't know about your lifestyle. If you have to take a nap, please take a nap. But don't come here and take a nap. Because you don't know whether you will be snoring or what you will be doing after lunch. So we don't want to have any external noises other than the technology noise we may have, but we don't have any other noises. And you don't want to see somebody waking you up in the middle of your nap. So I don't know about your lifestyle. My lifestyle is, because I'm the jet lag, I need to get a nap. So I will be getting a nap at least for an hour. But I will be here 5 minutes to 3 o'clock. Please try to plan yourself. Even if you come late, that's okay. You are not going to miss a lot of things. It's okay too. I mean, what I'm saying is, if you want to be participating in the discussion, please be on time. You are welcome to come late also. Okay? I'm not going to throw you out. Okay? Until otherwise you guys are not going to throw me out, I am not going to throw anybody out here. Okay? I will welcome anybody anytime, no issues. Okay? Believe me. You don't want, if you want to test it out, you can test it out, but you don't need to test it out there. Okay? You'll be fine. So this is what we are going to talk about this afternoon. Elastic behavior, solids, elastic behavior. And then tomorrow comes, we'll be doing TPA, texture profile analysis, and elastic behavior, some viscous behavior, viscosity and things like that. And then down the road, we'll be talking about solid viscoelastic nature and some instrument, stuff like that. So that is a plan for this afternoon and tomorrow, before we go into the rheological things and stuff like that. Okay, what we talked about today, let's revise this stuff so that we are on the same page. We introduce ourselves. That was a great introduction. You all loosening up little bit. We need to loosen up little more. That is the bottom line. So we talked about what is a texture. It's a more complex process, complex system. It involves a rheological, mechanical, structural, you name it, everything is there. So we have to sort things out one by one in terms of the what kind of material we are going to evaluate. And we'll look at the objectives of doing that, what's the purpose of doing that, and we also saw some instruments, very down to earth instrument, very simple instruments which can measure different textural properties. But down the road, we are going to look at the very classic instruments. You are all familiar with instrument, but we will anyway study that. And bottom line is, a lot of times as a researchers or the learners, we tend to accept what people said before us. People publish things, we review the publications, we take the numbers from there, and we just employ that in our experiments. We don't even think about why the hell they got these numbers from. Why did they study like this? We don't have time, right? They tested it out, they got the numbers, they got the publication. I can do the same thing for my product, right? That's what a lot of times we do. How many of you looked at the texture profile analysis system and question yourself how this calculated, how the software gives you hardness value, how the software gives you cohesiveness value, what is the importance of that? Anybody has done it in your class manually? TP analysis manually, you did that? Calculations manually? Get ready. You are going to do manual calculations tomorrow. Okay. Bring your paper. You all got the notebook, right? Bring it. Bring the notebook. If you want, you can bring your calculator. If you have a calculator, I think we all have a sophisticated cell phones now. Everybody has a calculator, right? I mean, we are not going to do logs, exponential and things like that. Very simple calculations only we are going to do, so that you know how the hell the software is giving you the numbers, what you are getting it. As a learners, we need to know ahead of time, right? Those are all basic things. It's easy to put things in the instrument and get the numbers out, but you need to understand where the number comes from. Because we are very bogged down with our cell phones and all the high-tech systems we have, we cannot even think about that. And this is a time to think about that, at least appreciate what it takes to understand these things.